That's right. It's a Muck Grind Show, muckandgrind.tv. I'm your host, Caleb Morgan.
I am Jeremy John Northup.
Well, let's go. Caps Rangers, Game 6 last night. We got a Game 7 on Saturday because the Caps pulled it out. We got a penalty in the first minute, and Ovechkin buries it. Ovechkin seemed to be the story. He hits the crossbars a little later in the first, had some big hits, set up some other near goals. But once again, he only plays about 15 minutes or so. But nobody's talking about how the ice time was a big factor because he played his game and the Caps win.
Yeah, who the hell leaves Ovechkin that open right in front of the goal like that? And that shot was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Just went high glove hand. Yeah, Ovechkin, he seemed like he owned the game yesterday.
He absolutely did, and you know who else did? The Caps defense.
Yeah.
This was pretty much a shutout. The Rangers' goal came
off someone's back or something.
Yeah, 55 seconds left. Sort of controversial. The Caps thought it should have been waved off. So 2-1 final, but pretty much a shutout here. Holtby, man, did they recover? Holtby, they've had two bad losses in this series that you'd think would be crushing, and we talked about that. The 3 overtime, then the one last game off the double minor, 2 power play goals. Should be crushers. Holtby did not at all flinch. You can't get him off his game. The way the Caps play sort of seems to inspire confidence, and he is just lights out under the pressure.
Yeah, they talk about how he doesn't lose 2 in a row, but unfortunately he can lose 1 in a row, and they need to win the next one in Game 7. Him and Lundqvist were both really great yesterday. The Caps blocked a ton of shots. I think 24 shots, 4 times as many as the Rangers.
24 to 6.
Yeah, they block a ton of shots, and the Caps are just beating them at their own game, it seems like.
As well, the Caps power play did their job 1 for 3, and they killed off all 6 of the Rangers power plays.
4-minute high sticking also.
Yeah, again. And we have as well. We want to talk about Joel Ward and what happened to him. How about Dale Hunter starting Joel Ward?
Yeah,
switches his line, puts him out there. I think on the Hendricks line. Yeah. They start the game with him. He got a lot of flack. There's some more of that racist BS on Twitter and whatnot. He starts them out and says, go get him. Start over.
Yeah.
And they played tremendous, and that third line was huge, or third or fourth line, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, they've been great. Get him out on the ice, get it out of his head. Yeah, the Caps definitely won that game yesterday. Both goaltenders were good. Like I said, the power play didn't heat up. We had talked about them trying to heat up. They went 0 for 5 yesterday. Yeah.
Early in this series, Game 1, the Rangers dominant on 5-on-5. They were, I think, scored 3 5-on-5 goals in that game.
Yeah.
Since then, they haven't really done too well 5-on-5, and that's been huge that the Caps are able to dominate in that way. They're getting timely power play goals. How about in this game, the second goal of the game for the Caps? The Rangers ice it. Use their timeout. There's about 9 minutes left in the second. They use their timeout. Tortorella does to get his guys a rest. Mm-hmm. The Caps score. The Caps score on the power play. Chimera puts it in on the side of the net, and it's 2-0. That's going to be really tough for the Rangers and for the coach who says, I just got you guys a rest, and he still can't keep it out.
Yeah, they asked him afterwards why he took the penalty, and he said, I had tired players on the ice. It's like, that's what happened.
Yeah, and these Tortorella press conferences,
they're always so quick, so short.
Are a little ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, it's pretty deflating if you call a timeout and then you get scored on right after the timeout. It's like, what can we do here?
Well, let's move on. Same topic, but next game. Game 7 is Saturday night at Madison Square Garden. I think I heard a stat, Tortorella has never lost at home in Game 7. So we're going home, and we know Tortorella really, really could get behind his players. They did not have the effort that he wanted in Game 6. Yeah. He's going to get those guys going. Both of these teams were in a first-round 7-game series and won in 7. We're in for a hell of a Game 7.
Yeah, I think this is really anyone's game. It seems like after every game you kind of go, oh, this team should win the next one, and then the other team wins. They're trading off wins and losses. The Rangers are going to be at home, which could help out, better matchups and stuff like that. Any team can really win. I'm going to say it's going to be a 1-goal game. That's my prediction.
Of course it is. Yeah. I think it's going to be really big too, especially if, let's say the Rangers get an early goal. I think then the Caps are going to finally start to press, and that might be their undoing. Yeah. I think it's important for the Caps to get out first, and really that has been a big thing here. Whoever scores first sort of does take control of the game, usually apart from Game 5 where the Rangers had that late crazy comeback. But I think getting out to an early start is going to be huge for whoever is going to eventually win this series.
Yeah, I think both these teams are really evenly matched. Yesterday, I mean, we're talking about Holtby, but Lundqvist is also really good. He was on his game yesterday. I think he only had like 20-something saves. But yeah, I have no idea who's going to win this Game 7. I thought about it. I was going to say, Caps, Rangers. I literally have no idea.
Coming in, I did pick the Caps in 7.
Yeah.
So we're going to Game 7.
Yeah, you're going to Game 7.
I got to stay with them. It's ridiculous how much I like this Caps team now.
Yeah.
I always, the Caps are so fun to make fun of because of how they always choke and Ovechkin and blah, blah, blah. I really like this. Yeah. I really like this group. I like what Hunter's doing, and you could see why he was so coveted and had so much success in juniors because of how he's getting these guys to play. He's completely turned this franchise around.
Yeah, even as a Pens fan, I watch this Caps team, and I'm rooting for him to beat the Rangers. It's like, I feel like sacrilegious or something like that. But I'm like, Ovi with 15 minutes, he's playing really well. He's playing defense. He looks good. Chimera, tons of great players playing well and actually accepting their role on this team.
Yeah, they're all buying in, and it's paying off so far. All right, let's move on to the Devils.
Tough topic for you.
The Flyers. I can't believe it. All three of let's go to the wide shot here. All three of the teams here are out. The Predators out in 5 in the second round. Flyers out in 5 in the second round against the Devils. A complete unbelievable result here. The Devils win 4 straight after the Flyers got the game 1, and it's over. Devils move on.
Yeah, I think the Devils did absolutely everything right in this series. I think Ilya Kovalchuk heated up. He had 2 goals and 5 assists in this series alone. I think he's leading scoring in the playoffs now. The teams remaining, they just forecheck constantly. I think their motto was "swarm it up," and that's what they just completely just killed this Flyers team. Looked like they were gassed from the first series. They had no answer for the Devils at all.
What I gotta say is, what did I say on Tuesday when we were looking at the game 5? My preview was I want to see the guys get down and dirty. The Talbots, Hartnells, and Simmons. Who got the first goal? Max Talbot. Yep. Bangs in a rebound.
Yeah.
But unfortunately for the Flyers, every time they score first, they lose in the playoffs. Seriously, they were about 1-5, 1-6, I think, when they scored first. And what else did I say? I wanted to see them level some people. I want to see them come out with some clean, hard checks. And what did they do? They were destroying people. Some of them not necessarily clean, but they came out. I think it was Zidlitsky, I forget who it was, nailed Schenn in the first period, and then Ronaldo went right after Volchenkov, and Ronaldo destroyed him.
Yeah, 2 people hit him, I think, right at the same time. Yeah,
he got absolutely destroyed, so I wanted to see that. I wanted to see the passion. It was kind of funny watching the game. I'm like, oh, well, yeah, of course Ronaldo's in there. He's a great substitution for Giroud, who's suspended. But he brought what I wanted. He brought the physicality and the passion. And a lot of people are saying that the Flyers really just lack passion in this series because after the high of really wanting to get at their rival, the Penguins, there was none of that, none of the rough stuff, no passion to play the Devils. And when the Devils played their system, they had nothing.
Yeah, it seemed like they were gassed out. I mean, they asked Laviolette afterwards. They said, "Did you, waste a lot of energy in the first series?" And he said, "No way." But they looked completely beat. Giroud takes a dumb penalty in Game 4. Doesn't play in Game 5. They have Ronaldo, who brings a lot of physical energy, but he also, went over the line.
Penalties.
He's not Claude Giroud. So it's like, you need the best player in the world when you're going to win a Game 5. Right?
It's interesting for the Devils moving on. I feel like they didn't do this in round 1 to the Panthers. I feel like their system just matched up completely against the Flyers. Yeah. I don't think they're going to manhandle, even if they do exactly what they did. Even if either they play the Caps or the Rangers, they're not going to have the same success. They may win, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think that system worked so well to a T against the Flyers, who had injuries, who had some non-mobile defensemen, small, and then the other defensemen are mobile or a little smaller, and they just picked them apart system-wise. I don't think they're going to have the same success against the Caps or Rangers, who are both playing as defensive of a hockey game as the Devils are. So it's just a matter of the Devils did to the Flyers what the Flyers did to the Penguins, and maybe somebody's going to do to the Devils next round.
You see it all the time in hockey. Certain teams match up against other teams really well, and you have the Rangers beat the Flyers, the Penguins beat the Rangers, and then you have you never know. Teams match up really well. You see it in football, you see it in hockey, you see it all the time. Teams match up well.
And so let's do a quick post-mortem here. I want to hit on one topic here. How much blame goes to Brizgalov? We saw the ugly goal to Clarkson. He gave up 3 goals or more in something like, 8 of the 9 starts, or I forget how many starts they had, 6 plus 5, 11 starts. Yeah, and like 9 of the 11 starts he gave up, or 10 of the 11 starts, for more than 3 goals. How much blame would you put on Brizgalov, percentage-wise here?
Percentage-wise, let's see. 50 to 60% maybe? I don't really know. As we said earlier, it was like the show we did before the playoffs where we talked about is Brizgalov worth his money. Mm-hmm. And like we said that we'd have to have after the playoffs to be able to judge that. He is definitely not worth his money. They're exactly where they were last year, out in the second round.
They got one game further. They got swept by Boston.
They got one game further. Shaky goaltending. Carter and Richards are out in LA. LA's playing in the Western Conference. They blew up their roster. Got a lot of money tied up in this guy. How many? 8 more years or something like that with Brizgalov. Man,
he's the most entertaining goaltender you'll ever see in your life, though.
You pay a lot of money for entertainment. Right?
Hey, it's worth it. Listen, here's my thing. You say 50 to 60%. I think that's nuts. Max 25%.
Yeah.
For this playoff, max 25% responsibility, maybe 15%. The way the Devils destroyed them system-wise was not on him. Sure, he gave up that ugly goal to Clarkson, cleared it right to him. But what was the final score of that game? 3-1, Kovalchuk power play goal. So if he doesn't give that up, they're still down. They could not score on the Devils. They could not get anything going offensively. Mm-hmm. So to put the blame on him, you can't just look at the numbers. You got to look at the fact that he played poorly and they won in the first round. Yeah. He played poorly. He played better in the second round. He played better in the second round, and they lost. So some people want to heap that on. Sure, your goaltender could carry you. Sure, maybe he could have won. I think it was Game 3 that went to overtime as well, and got and propelled them to more of a series. But at the end of the day, the Devils system, the Devils team broke down the Flyers, and it wasn't Brizgalov's fault. Yeah. Yes, next year he must be a lot better. In future years he must be a lot better. But I hate when they're throwing that on him. Yeah. I feel like Philly missed a huge opportunity to win the Stanley Cup this year with the teams we have left. Yeah. In the playoffs, they really did to finally get it done, and they blew it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just have a question. Are you happy with Brizgalov as a goaltender for the Flyers?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you are.
Absolutely. Okay. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it. How many times do you see a guy sign a big contract? Year 1 is not his best year. Yeah. All the time. New surroundings, new system. It takes a while. He's got 9 years on this deal, I think, so he's got a long time. But we really got to go here. Let's do a real Kings Coyotes preview. Sunday, it looks like it's going to start unofficially. What do you got here? Who's your pick? Kings Coyotes out west.
I'm gonna go with Coyotes in 7. And it's just like both teams have terrible goaltending. So unlikely Hero and Jonathan Quick. Both power plays are struggling. Can the Coyotes continue to score by committee? Can the Kings get goals and get dirty in front of the net? Both teams are going to have to get a lot of traffic in front of the net. We thought a lot of goaltending got it towards the end of the series. Maybe there's going to be a lot of goals. Maybe one goaltender is going to let up. But, I'm going to take Coyotes in 7 going on a limb.
This is interesting. They're division rivals, so they play 6 times throughout the year. They split 3-3. But, man, it's odd. They haven't played since February. Yeah. They played February 16th and February 21st, last 2 games. It's very odd for division rivals to not play in that long. But let me tell you, those 2 games were interesting as hell. The February 16th, there were 4 fights in the game. We got clips of these right now, I'm sure. Shane Doan went with Dustin Brown in the first. 2 captains, guys who usually don't go. Richards went with, I think, Hansel or somebody. Biz Nasty was in the game, went with Westgarth. And then Torres, who's not in the game, went as well. And then the next game, that was a 1-0 Coyotes victory. The next game was just bonkers in terms of went to 5-4 shootout win for the Coyotes, where the Kings had a 3-0 lead in that game and blew it. Yeah. The 2 games were fantastic from those standpoints, but these teams do not like each other. Yeah. So, you might think, we're in for a defensive series again. We've got 2 great goaltendings, 2 great defensives. I think this is going to be a really great series. Yeah. You've got a little bit of passion there because they don't like each other, and the teams are both vying for something they haven't seen in a long time, and in the Phoenix case, forever, a Stanley Cup final berth.
Yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody open up and just score a ton of goals. How long can you be a .950 save percentage? How long can that happen for, There's a ton of great goaltenders, left. And they got to score to win. Right?
I'm going the other way on this. I've got the Kings. I'm going to say Kings in 6, wouldn't be surprised if we win 7 because I think we're in for a hell of a series.
Yeah.
So Kings, Coyotes. We're going to be back Tuesday. It's actually, unfortunately, going to be our final show of the season, so you're going to want to tune in for that. We'll have preview the East and talk about games won from both rounds, should they have happened by then. But for Jeremy Northup, I'm Caleb Morgan, muckandgrind.tv.
Tune in next time for another episode of the Muck and Grind Show. Or check out past episodes anytime at www.muckandgrind.tv.